Did you know that the Tourism Workers Pension Fund will cover all workers from 18 to 65 years in the sector, whether permanent, contract or self-employed? That's right. And the benefits will be payable at age 65.
What we want to make sure is that everybody is covered, that everybody is on some social security arrangement to protect them when they retire or when they can't work anymore.
The Tourism Minister gives more details on the fund later in the show. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkins and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. We have a lot more in store for you, so stay with us.
How we are going with all of that? You're moving?
No. I'm a passport I come for renewing, you know. But you want me to show me no in that way full of crown and the long line I take you all day. Make sure you walk with some food. And
No, man, things improve, man. Them have a lot of drop box where you can use inside. They finish in no time.
Yeah,
Man, them are done.
Yeah. And some food, man. Try this. Drop box.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 22. Government has entered into an agreement to extend domestic monitoring of Jamaica's economic reform program beyond the country's precautionary standby arrangement with the IMF, which ends this November. The move was formalized through the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding MOU this morning between the Ministry of Finance and the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the MOU empowers EPOC to continue in its monitoring role until government operationalizes policy commitments for the established inclusion of independent fiscal oversight.
The government is far advanced in enacting legislation that will modernize the central bank, inclusive of institutionalizing independence in the implementation of monetary policy. We are also working towards legislation that will give rise to a fiscal council that will strengthen Jamaica's fiscal responsibility framework and be an independent arbiter of Jamaica's fiscal rules.
Minister Clark says with the Joint Select Committee of Parliament's review of the central bank legislation far advanced, he expects the amended bill to be tabled in this quarter and passed before the next financial year, which begins in April 2020. Dr. Clark says he also expects to table legislation in Parliament for the Fiscal Council by April of next year. In the meantime, EPOC's chairman, Keith Duncan, says his committee's work and the eventual fiscal legislation will serve to improve economic benefits for Jamaicans.
We are already seeing the fruits of, fiscal responsibility in relationship to our ability to invest in capital expenditure, in infrastructure, in even this year in the national security apparatus. And we are confident that if we continue along this path, we will be able to increasingly invest in the capacity of our Jamaican people and our Jamaican organizations.
Residents of Mavis Bank and adjoining areas of East Rural St. Andrew now have easier access to their communities following the rehabilitation of the Georges River Bridge. The bridge, which is located in Violet Bank, was renovated at a cost of $21 million by the National Works Agency. Previously 15 feet wide, it has been expanded to 36 feet and can now accommodate 2 large vehicles simultaneously. During the official opening on Wednesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the bridge was now high enough to allow for unimpeded flow of the stream that runs below and also sturdy enough to withstand the peculiarities of climate change.
Widening this bridge is important for the access of the people who live in the community, for the agricultural access, which is necessary to move coffee speedily to market, access for construction work that is going, for large trucks to move materials, and for the safety of the community, because this area, during times of drought and in the summer in particular, is susceptible to bushfires. and to have the fire engines being able to move without impediment is also very important.
Mr. Holness is urging motorists to refrain from speeding and to maneuver with care when using the bridge. Over 700 traffic cameras have been installed in specific parishes so far under the Ministry of Transport and Mining's electronic surveillance system. The cameras are equipped with license plate reading technology to record vehicles involved in traffic offenses. Approximately 490 traffic cameras have been installed across Kingston, 120 in Montego Bay, 80 in Ocho Rios, 38 in May Pen, and 30 in Mandeville. The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, is urging parents to be wary of counterfeit products during their back-to-school shopping. CAC's Director of Communications, Latoya Halstead, says parents should be especially careful when purchasing severely marked down items.
What you might be thinking that you're getting as a deal could in fact be a knockoff. So you're paying money out of pocket for something that you think is going to last when in 2-3 months it goes.
Ms. Halstead is recommending that parents conduct research before purchasing items such as shoes and bags and to physically check these items in store.
Go online and look to see exactly what the tags should be like, the branding of the item, to see exactly how it ought to be. So when you go into the store or from whomever you're purchasing it from, you already have an idea as to what it should look like, to see if there is any inferior stitching, if the label somehow just doesn't look right, if you see spelling errors, if you don't even see the tag that should be there.
Parents are also advised to explore buying used books and to walk with the book list when purchasing textbooks to check the edition, author, and publisher. Persons are further cautioned to keep receipts and not wrap or write in the text until it is verified by the teacher that those books will be used. And finally, parents and guardians of children who are deaf or hard of hearing are being encouraged to enroll them into one of the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, JAD's, schools. The association operates 7 schools across 4 parishes. Executive Director Kimberly Sherlock Marriott Blake says currently there are approximately 400 students enrolled, which is a 50% capacity across the system. She says it is estimated that JAD should have at least 1,000 students enrolled in its schools.
Because education is our core focus, one of the things that's very critical for us is ensuring that we not only have children in school, but that we're adequately supporting them once we get them into school.
Mrs. Sherlock Marriott Blake was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. She says students who have hearing loss and use hearing aids usually have a hard time keeping up with the pace of a large class in regular schools and eventually perform at or below bare minimum standard. For this reason, she says the JAD is working on sensitizing persons at the community level about the importance of having these children learn in an environment which is tailored to their specific needs.
But our goal is ensuring that whatever the hearing loss, the child can be supported. The child can be given the education that they deserve, because we are firm believers that every child can learn and every child must learn.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Are you a small to medium-sized tourism enterprise? Borrow up to $25 million at an interest rate of 5%. You can use the funding to develop and maintain your infrastructure, upgrade or increase your capacity, enhance and expand your attraction, tour or event, and purchase raw material. Call the Exim Bank and ask about the Tourism SMTE loan. Their numbers are 876-630-1400 or 876-618-5889. Tap into the over $3 billion earned yearly through tourism with a SMTE loan.
By early 2020, the Tourism Workers' Pension Fund will come into effect. This will provide a social security net for those who make a living from the sector.
We see too many workers who have toiled for years, some 40, some 50 years, and after they have left the industry, they are in pecuniary situations. And we're saying that that is not right. That image is wrong. That optic is unsatisfactory. And therefore, the move to ensure that we create that social security arrangement so that on retirement, the tourism worker from whatever category can be assured of a minimum pension. And we wanted to emphasize the minimum. So we went about, over the last 8 years or so, working assiduously at getting the structures and systems and legislative and regulatory arrangements in place so as to allow for a pension plan that is going to be very embracing, that is perhaps all-inclusive. By that we mean it covers all elements of the working force within the industry. That is to say, those who are working in the hotels, whatever category in the hotels, those who are working at attractions, whichever attractions, those who are self-employed, like the owners of taxis and transportation arrangements that we have to utilize on a regular and almost total basis to transit visitors from one point to the other. The red caps, those who work for themselves at the airport, to remove and carry and to convey the luggage and much of the burden and help that the visitor requires. Then we look at those who are involved in street food arrangements and are providing that kind of a basic gastronomy service to the people of the industry, the guests, the visitors, and locals alike. And then you have to look at those who are involved in spas and in areas of farming that are dedicated to tourism. For example, agritourism projects and entities, people who work for those. And then security, those who work with the security corps in the industry. And we could go on, then the vendors, the craft vendors, the ordinary Jamaican who provides a lot of the basic social services and needs that the visitor has. Because all of those social needs that are provided by the ordinary Jamaican on the street are part of what we call the destination assurance. It's part of what the integrity of the destination is composed of. It's part of what defines us. It's part of what makes us a place where people feel comfortable, people feel safe, people feel secure, and we ought to provide them with a seamlessness in terms of their ability to move and to access our assets. So the purpose, therefore, of this pension plan is to enable that level of social protection at the end of the working experiences of visitors. So there had to be an age limit, as there had to be a commencement age. And so the scheme will cover all workers of tourism enterprises who are 18 years and over up to 65. At 65, it's the formal pensionable age. Now, you can be part of the scheme beyond age 65, but the pensionable age is 65. That is to say, you wouldn't be able to get a pension except for certain circumstances, which I will indicate, until you are age 65. And those circumstances has to do with incapacitation as a result of illnesses, right? Or any acts of God or the Queen's enemy that creates that level of incapacity on your side. You can also, and this is a very important feature that we have introduced, which perhaps is not present in any other pension scheme anywhere, in that you can become a member at age 59, 5 years before you get to age 65. So you would only pay for 5 years, but you would be entitled to a pension similar to the persons who would have been there from the start. And how did that happen? That came about because the government of Jamaica, the government, decided that we would put $1 billion from the Tourism Enhancement Fund into the scheme fund so as to seed it, so to speak, and to create the base so that those who have been contributors for only 5 years can still get a pension that is equal to a minimum of $200,000 a year.
Minister Bartlett continues the conversation after this break, telling us more about the contribution process for workers and employers as well as its benefits.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Before the break, we look at the categories and the age group of persons who are eligible to join the Tourism Workers Pension Fund. Let's pick up the conversation on the contribution process and benefits. Here's Minister Bartlett with the details.
What is the level of involvement that each worker is required? How do you, first of all, start the contribution? You start the contribution the first day that you are appointed to the company. We understand that some companies will have a little 3-month or 2-month, probation period. So we understand that. But the minute you are employed full-time, then it kicks in. And do I have an option to join or not to join? No. The law is making this a compulsory pension act, which enables everybody and requires everybody. That's the word. Requires everybody to join. But it also does something else. It requires every employer to participate with the employee. And so initially, it will be a 3% deduction from your weekly or monthly salary, as the case might be. And the employer will contribute an equal 3%. And that will go on for the first 3 years. After that is 5% and 5%. So, what then happens to this money? This money goes into an account bearing the name of every contributor. So, I have my own account. Just as I had a savings account in the bank, it's the same way that it will obtain. And what will be in the account will be my contribution of 3% and the employer's contribution of 3%. And then when that money is invested and it grows interest, what we call accrete, nice word, then that my account accretes. Right? The other thing is that I must have a beneficiary that is put on the account so that if anything happens while I am going on in life, like, I should die, the beneficiary would get the account. So it would not then go to the Administrator General and end up in the government coffers in the long run. But your beneficiary, and your designated beneficiary, whoever you want, could be mother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever, right? Your beneficiary. The other thing is that you can join and move from one company to the other without breaking your membership. It's very important because we know how it goes in the tourism industry. You move from hotel to hotel, and sometimes you move from being a hotel worker to being an entrepreneur on your own because you decide that you're going to be a transportation operator, or you decide that you're going to supply the hotel with certain goods and services and so on and so forth. But you can remain there. Something else then that you asked, all right, since I can move from one hotel to the other and so on, can I be in more than one scheme? No. You can only be in one scheme. and you pick which one you want to be in. So if you don't want to be in the Tourism Workers Pension Act, and there's another pension scheme somewhere that you feel you can do better with, then fine, not a problem. But what we want to make sure is that everybody is covered, that everybody is on some social security arrangement to protect them when they retire or when they can't work anymore. And so here is another big pool of funds. We're expecting perhaps 350 and more thousand people to participate in it in the long run. In the long run, in fact, the growth of the industry will dictate how many hundred thousands or indeed millions of people will be involved in it down the road. But the actuarial people have done some little work and indicate to us that in the first 5 years, at the end of the first 5 years, we will have something like about $7 billion Jamaican in the fund. So that will make it possible for the minimum of 200,000. But they also tell us that if, on a presumption that 200,000 people join, and a rate of, say, 4% growth over the year, right? By 2030, we would have $7 billion in the fund. Now, if that 200,000 became the 300,000 we talk about, and the 300,000 became 5, as is likely to be at the rate of growth of the tourism industry at the moment, you can then see that this fund is going to have trillions of dollars later on. And this is going to be hugely beneficial to the whole investment arrangement in Jamaica and the access to affordable capital for investment in infrastructure and in commerce and in other areas of economic life. So we have created then not just a social safety net, not just a social piece of legislation that is going to protect the vulnerable, but we have also created an economic fund that is going to be available for investment and for capital formation.
Up next, the Administrator General's Department helps us to understand who is a spouse.
Anna, why you knocking down my door? What is it?
Jackie, I don't know what to do. From Jason dead, I have nothing to give to the children, and I don't know where to turn.
So why you didn't go down to the Administrator General's department, the place I told you about the other day?
Lord Jackie, me know you try to help me, you know, but remember say me and Jason never did marry, you know.
What do you mean by that, Anna? The law say if a single man and a single woman live together as husband and wife for 5 years and more immediately before death, then he or she is considered a spouse.
Really? That mean me can't get something then? Cause boy, it rough, you know.
Yes, man, just go down there, tell them about the case, that Jason died leaving no will, house and children under 18 years. Go down there and see what them can do for you.
A true you're talking, Jackie. Where you say the place there again?
Down a waterfront, man. 12 Ocean Boulevard. Go down there, talk to them and see if them can help you.
Okay, I'm going down there right now.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Good morning, miss. I hear that the Administrator General's Department can help me. You see, my children, them father died, leaving me with the 2 pitney them, and I'm me alone I care for them.
Did he leave a will?
Will, ma'am, after Jason never ready for dead, how come him a come from work and drop down dead? My friend tell me say under the law I'm considered a spouse. By the way, who is a spouse?
Under the Interstates, Estates and Property Charges Act, a spouse is a single man and woman living together as husband and wife for 5 years or more. By living together, the two persons should not have been separated at any time during the 5 years immediately before death. A surviving spouse includes a person who's legally married. That is, he or she went in front of a pastor and took the vow of marriage. If Anna meets the requirements, she can hire an attorney at law or go to the legal aid clinic to apply for an order from the court declaring that she's a spouse. Some of the questions the court will look at are: did Anna and Jason break up during the 5 years? Did Jason have any children, born in the same year as Anna's children? The court will also want to know if Anna or Jason were married before and not divorced. Once the order has been granted, the spouse would be entitled to benefit from the estate of the deceased. For further information, you can visit the Administrator General's Department in Kingston, 3rd floor at the Office Center Building, 12 Ocean Boulevard, or call us at 922-183023. You can also visit our Western office at the 2nd floor of the National Housing Trust Building at 42B Union Street, Montego Bay, St. James. Telephone 630-4261. Our website is at www.agd.gov.jm. That's the Administrator General's Department, securing your legacy.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.